Greetings, everyone. This is Andres, Pop Culture Guy. I'm your moderator tonight for the It. Welcome to Derry, episode 5, live stream discussion. So I'm with two awesome people. Let me introduce them. First up, Jesse. Welcome back, sir.
Jesse is from the Source Materials
Source Material.
Comics podcast, sir.
I was gonna say source code. I was like, no, it's not source code. You know,
I'd run with it anyway. I'd be like, yeah, okay, that's fine.
Yeah, source material. Yeah.
Thanks for having me on. By the way, I appreciate it, man. This is going to be a fun discussion. I can't wait.
That's my fault, Andres. It's my job to let you know that stuff. So
No worries. And of course, we got Jeff as TrueKnowledge, the co-host of MCU Bleeding Edge. How you doing, sir?
Oh yeah, sir. I'm doing really good. I'm really glad to be here for another Wednesday. Still doing it, and we only got a couple episodes left, so I'm gonna savor them. The show's been pretty good. I've enjoyed it so far. So looking forward to the discussion, sir.
Are you 1 year older than you last time you were on this show?
Yeah, I mean, essentially that's true, and I'm actually I'm reaching that point in age where I'm starting to actually not be able to keep track of how old I am.
That's okay. That's all right. I've been there too.
Yeah. I mean, I really don't know for sure at times. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Because one day it was one of those days I was asking him, how old are you? And then he told me his age. I was like, what? No way. It was just like, oh my God, you're that age. I was like, oh my God.
I'm not that old.
Yeah, no. I'm saying that it was funny when you told me your age, like your actual age. I was like, you look younger.
I think I'm 43 now.
So
that's a lot of content creation, podcasting life as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
When you start reaching that point, it's hard to remember other people's birthdays too and how old they are. Because I do that all the time with my family. I'm like, well, I know their birthday's right around this date, and as to how old they are, I have no idea. I'm sure I could 8 years ago, but I have no idea now.
It's very difficult. I've stopped even really trying to keep track of my family members' ages and things of that nature. There's no point.
Right, dude.
No. It's not. You guys are lucky. You don't have the one for me with my family where they have birthdays in August, and it's so hard because my birthday's in August. My mom's is August. It's crazy. No, I totally feel you guys. So let's get into it. Let me do Red Robin with you guys of just your overall opinion on this episode and the series in general. But let me start with you, Jess. Have you been watching this show? Are you a big Stephen King fan? And what are your thoughts on this episode? Just a brief thought of this episode.
Sure. Yeah. So I think it was about two or 3 weeks ago when I had found that this was streaming. I knew it had dropped. I just hadn't had a chance to start it yet. And I really didn't know what to expect. I knew it was going to be, a story that was being told, clearly that's surrounding the lore of it and Stephen King's, story and all that. So I knew it was HBO as well. So I didn't know if it was going to be, how well it was going to be done, but I expected it to be done pretty well. So I started it. We started it and got caught up really quickly because it was something that made me want to watch the next episode as soon as possible. And then, of course, you hit that wall where you got caught up and you're like, well, damn, now I got to wait. So yeah, I mean, as far as the series right now, I am extremely pleased with what I got. I think there's some great horror elements here. There's not a ton of gore, but there can be sometimes that just make you kind of cringe a little bit. But as far as Stephen King goes, I never read the book. We were just talking earlier before we got on here about watching the 1990 miniseries that was on ABC. I did watch that, so I kind of at least could hold a conversation with people that did read the book. Although my understanding is that there's a lot more stuff that happens in the book than what gets obviously put on an ABC show in 1990. But I appreciate Stephen King's work. There's quite a few books that I've read. I'm more prone to really enjoy his short stories, but I always liked the Dark Tower series. And granted, I still haven't gotten past Wizard and Glass, which is like the 4th book, and there's a total of like 7 or 8 in there. So, I'm not an authority in any way. One of the things that I love and can appreciate, though, is his interconnectivity of all of his stories. There will be something that's mentioned. Speaking of another miniseries that was on TV, The Stand. There's some elements of The Stand in some of the Dark Tower books, and so it's not uncommon to kind of see something pop up in one Stephen King story and then pop up in another, or at least get mentioned like sideways somehow, and you're like, wait a second. There's actually a book, I saw it at the library once, I really wanted to get a hold of it, that is just straight up dedicated to his works and how they're interconnected. And I've always wanted to
Really?
and read it, but I've never had a chance yet. So I'm gonna have to keep an eye out for it. So in that we're getting some of that here in this series too, which is really cool. We're going to be talking probably a little bit about that tonight. And then as far as the episode goes, just my brief thoughts on it. I really enjoyed what we got, and I think this is probably one of the better ones of the season.
Thank you, Jess. Jesse, yeah, no, I totally agree. It's kind of funny. I'm a more traditional, just a movie fan of Stephen King work. I haven't read the books, as well. And I was kind of surprised how connected it is when I was like, yeah, really. And then when you see the Easter eggs and like particularly the Hulu show called Castle Rock, it was like, oh
yeah, that was great. You saw a lot in there too. It was that was another one I really enjoyed.
Yeah, and I knew the Dark Tower. I haven't read the books, but I just know that series is like a big, huge connected of like the works that he has done.
Right.
Stuff like that. And I'm surprised. Yeah, this show I was like, oh wow, we're doing that. Specifically with The Shining, and I was like. And I was just reading up on it. It was like, oh, because one of the chapters in the book, there was a mention of, this particular character because he owns something in Derry. So that's why he's kind of like here, an excuse to get someone like, but, that's cool. I really appreciate that.
Right, for sure.
Jeff, your thoughts on the series overall and your thoughts on this episode we're going to discuss briefly.
Yeah, I mean, just to bounce off of Jesse, I mean, Welcome to Derry is a very watchable, highly entertaining, horror, based television show, and I think that that genre of horror inspired television shows is a tough genre to crack into. It's not easy, I don't think. Territory. You know what I'm saying? You can just as easily fail with a show. Trying to pull off horror. On a small screen. You know what I mean? As you might pull off a decent show. And we've all seen that in the past. With other shows in the past. So this its show is very solid. I honestly wish that that the first season was longer than 8 episodes. If it was 10 episodes, I'd be really happy about that. I would have no problem with that at all. Watching another extra 2 episodes of what we're getting so far, that for this season. Just overall, the episodes are not as long as some other HBO shows in the past. Episode lengths. We've seen in the past. That we've covered. But they're nice and long. And a lot happens in them. There's a lot of moving pieces. A lot of different characters to follow, which I like. And the whole dichotomy of splitting up the season, where you have two stories, working at the same time, essentially, right? In the show that cross over now, right, for the first time, really, you know what I'm saying, in episode 5. But I mean, up until episode 5, really, we're kind of isolated from each other, you have the kids, deal where they were doing their thing, and then you've got the adult story, right? And they're both interesting, which is, hats off to, whoever they're, whoever those folks are called, the Bruschetti, siblings or whatever, for, producing the show, because I happen to be a fan of television shows that, that go with the whole, multi-layered story, type package. You know what I'm saying? I think some of the best TV shows that I've ever watched are the ones that are really good at balancing out that sort of style of show, where you're bouncing back and forth between, 2 or 3 different major storylines, per episode, when that's done well, it's good, it's good. It makes for a good television show, honestly, not to, jump too far away from it, but that's what makes shows like Game of Thrones so crazy, when you think about producing shows like Game of Thrones, because they were balancing over 10 different major character storylines at a time sometimes on that show, and they would try to do all of it in one episode at a time, you know what I mean? And and it was a lot, to take in, you know what I mean? To try to work out over the course of one episode. And that's why Game of Thrones has a lot of long fucking episodes, you know what I'm saying? There's a lot of a lot of Game of Thrones episodes are 58 minutes, an hour and 7 minutes, an hour and 12 minutes long for that reason. Yeah, I mean, I think that, for the amount of, time, the 50 minutes or whatever that they give you in these episodes of, Welcome to Derry, that, it's, they cram in a lot, and it never feels slow or boring or, anything like that, it's always, totally, fun, interesting, intriguing, at times, you know what I'm saying? Because Pennywise is a very intriguing, mysterious, interesting sort of character, villain. Because he doesn't, put all of his cards on the table immediately, kind of, right? There's always sort of a sense of smoke and mirrors kind of with him. Which works really well with the style of horror that they employ in this show. Like Jesse said, they're not relying on gore, and a ton of blood, really, although there is blood, obviously, right? And they don't shy away from it, right? But they really, really play off of the psychological horror tropes, like sounds, using sounds from different directions and things like that. You know what I mean? Eerie jump scares, where they bring the camera in slowly into certain, scenes, you know what I'm saying? And you don't know what's going to happen, or who's going to be there, they're simple tactics, to employ, but when they're done well, right? With the right soundtrack and, everything, and the right background and setting, and all that, it can work. And it works well in this show. It is definitely low key scary at times. Not every episode, but some episodes are actually scary a little bit, especially anything having to do with the sewers. The sewer stuff is scary as fuck, right? I don't care, what horror movie you're talking about. Anytime you depict a horrific sewer, scene or whatever, sewers are fucking scary, bro. You know what I'm saying? There's just something about going underground, you know, that's like very like, uneasy, like very like uncomfortable, like, like already, you know what I'm saying? Then you throw in the whole, just the whole aspect of like how claustrophobic the sewers are, and how how it all looks the same. You know what I'm saying? It's like a maze, It sounds horrifying to like, actually go down into one like that, one of those old style ones like that.
Oh yeah.
Fuck that, bro.
Yeah.
They need to be like, for once, they need to be realistic in one of these like TV shows or movies or whatever, where the kids are just like, you know what? Fuck this shit. I'm not going down there, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I thought that was going to happen this episode. I was like,
yeah,
these kids have got to wisen up. Nope, that's not what happens. Not what happens.
Yeah,
I think I'm just amazed at how they're continuing to show Pennywise display different abilities and powers and and things he can do with his visual abilities. You know what I'm saying? How they're still pulling out new shit with him. Even though I didn't see the recent films, I know for a fact that whole him using the kid deal, which we'll talk about, is new. Like he just hasn't done that before in the film. Actually like depict himself as an actual human being, like that.
No, so that's funny because you only do it one time with the one main character in the Losers Club. That was Billy. He used Georgie as like it just like a one scene where he was trying to lure him.
Yeah, but that was brief. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it was brief.
This was a full on.
Right. He was there for a while.
Yeah. I was kind of surprised about that. I was like, oh wow, he really did that. Let's get into the recap. Anything else you want to say before we do the recap? Because I really like what you said. Yeah, I totally agree.
No, I mean, I can talk about, how good the show is for a minute, I'll try to, just drop some of that stuff, I've got my notes that I took during the episode, so I'll sprinkle it in during the breakdown, you know what I'm saying? But it's like a really good show. I don't think it will do well like awards wise or anything like that, or even really be all that like media critically acclaimed all that much, to tell you the truth. But it's a a tight little fun TV show. It doesn't try to do too much, I think, right? With a no name cast too, which I think is great.
One thing about this show that does have like over some shows currently is like more like a fan theory kind of discussion. We don't do that. We don't do this in the show. But like it's cool to like have a show like this to like spin, around like who these characters are. Like, obviously later on in the review we're gonna discuss about the nurse that was from the hospital and like the twist that we got, which I was not expecting. And there's more to her that like we're probably gonna get later in the series, stuff like that. It's cool to have, because some shows don't lead on that. That's why people like Severance so much.
That's what happens when you move over to television instead of movies with something like it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It's a different mode of totally different format. And you're gonna be able to do different things, add different layers. To the story and all that kind of stuff, and it's a lot harder to do that in films.
Yeah, exactly. No. I completely agree with that.
You gotta be a lot more rigid. You know what I'm saying? When you're producing a movie,
what can make it in, what has to stay out, or what can make it in, right?
Yeah. Because one of these, I'm like looking forward for this show, and what I kind of appreciate, because they kind of touch it on this, but not really in chapter 2, like where the Pennywise came from, and like what he did in those 27-year gap, and I'm like so happy that we're getting that from the show, and later hopefully getting those seasons. They are saying they got a 3-season plan, so I'm like very happy that we slowly peeling out like who Pennywise is, and it's not like annoying. It's actually really cool to see him.
I really don't. I told you already, Andres. I don't visualize on an HBO television show. I don't see them actually doing a scene at any point in the 3 seasons of this show where they show like the actual scene where Pennywise crashes onto Earth. You know what I mean, or whatever.
Oh
You
no,
know,
no,
like
no, we're not getting that. Like we're already past that. They already showed us in that flashback from last week when they're when Dick is interrogating what was that character name? Tent?
Oh my goodness, I just had it in front of me too. Taniel or
Yes,
Taniel or
Tenno.
something.
Yeah, Tenno is right. Like that was a good flashback of explaining like where Pennywise came from. He came from space, and then it explained about the pillars and all that. I think that's like a good like origin story for Pennywise. Like I don't need like you were saying for Jeff. Like we're not gonna like see like the flashback of landing. Like we already got that already last week's episode, which is cool. Last week's episode was really neat towards the end. That was nice. I'm just saying more of like he disguises because he wasn't Pennywise during the like the later years. It came much later when he.
There's never been a desire to try to go into the sci-fi aspect of it. You know what I mean? You know, because it's a horror book. You know what I mean? You know, like novel. You know what I mean? You know.
Yeah.
So there's never been any desire on anybody, any creators, you know, like mind or whatever, you know, to try to go in that direction with it. You know.
And a lot of times when you go back and you start showing stuff like that, it kind of takes away the mystery.
Well,
this horror too.
I think if you start adding stuff like that, you actually start connecting all of a sudden it to like other stuff like The Thing and stuff like that. You know, other horror franchise, you know, movies. You know what I mean? You know, and that doesn't help. That doesn't help the actual movies. You know,
right?
Yeah. No, I agree. Yeah. Well, thankfully, I mean, they kind of like change a lot with the it stuff because I do agree with you. They're not doing the sci-fi thing like the book because I think that's the thing people don't know. Like the book is very sci-fi horror.
It'd be too deep to actually try to explain scientifically and everything. You know, like what he is as an alien creature. You know what I'm saying? You know, like how he does all the things. You know what he does. You know, like
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and addressing to you, Jesse. Yeah, like because there's other aliens that are like. So I don't know. You know, is this the turtle references that you see in the show, particularly episode 1 with the kid with the mascot? Because there's a character in the book. There's this like cosmic turtle that's the good side that helps the kids defeat Pennywise. I think later in the later chapters when they grow like they were in the adult side.
Yeah, isn't that turtle like another dimension or something like that?
Yeah, so we're
wow. You can tell I've never read the book.
exactly. And
it's very complicated. You know what I'm saying? Pennywise exists in like different dimensions and stuff like that. He doesn't just like he's not just an alien. You know what I'm saying? He also like literally exists in like other planes.
Now I understand what you were saying. Okay, that's crazy.
Exactly. So I appreciate that the movies and the show kind of is streamlining Pennywise, keeping him mystery still. It's like, we know he's from outer space, but we don't know what, like it's like the John Kirkman thing. We know it's from outer space, but we don't know how powerful, like what is reason being here. Like we don't, we're not gonna get that answer.
Right.
No.
That's the good thing about this show. I like that they're doing that, and they're just gonna address like, oh yeah, he's been here for a long time. Like, the big fan theory right now.
Yeah, the only way you're gonna know about things like the deadlights and stuff like that is if you read the novel. Yeah,
exactly. So the show is just it's exploring Pennywise, not his origin story. Let me make it different. They're exploring his timeline more of like he been existing like different timelines, and we're going to explore that more than the movies did, because the movies kind of addressed it a little bit, but it was never really like they didn't went in like full deeply like this show is going to do, which I'm happy about. Jesse, they go full cosmic in the book, and where the miniseries and the new movies, which I'm the only one in the group that I've seen the new movies, but great adaptations. I like the changes that the Machete family has done. The sister and brother, let me say the sister is the producer, and then the brother is the director of the movies and the Flash movie, has done a really good job of grounding the It films in like makes more sense in reality, and like they're like more supernatural kind of feel. there's a little bit of sci-fi, but it's not like they're not going too crazy with the sci-fi.
It's definitely disturbing to imagine an alien race of Pennywise.
Yes.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It is scary.
it is creepy. I don't want many Pennywise. It's like, oh my god, the clowns. And yeah, and I want to give a good shout out with Bill Skarsgård, who played Pennywise. I was so happy to see him again. I'm a huge fan of these movies. He's such a good Pennywise. When he did that transformation, him singing, I was like, oh god, we're doing like juicing cooking good in this episode. I was like, oh, we got little great Pennywise. It's amazing. I'm so happy.
His Dracula was really good.
Oh yes, yep. Nosferatu. Great. He's a great fan. I saw a new trailer for his movie.
Nosferatu, Dracula, whatever.
Yeah. I know. I'm just defending you from these other audience and all that. All right, let's get into the recap, guys. There's a lot we have to go to. One thing I do agree with Jeff. I like that this episode we converge everything to this one point, which is good. Getting the kids, the adults, all the storylines into one point, which is obviously the house that Pennywise usually hides in. So let's open up with the first scene where we get into Marge, who last episode got attacked by Pennywise. She literally thought her eyes were, oh my god, coming out. One of the bugs she was seeing in that presentation in her classroom, and obviously she caught one of her eyes out, which was really brutal. So Lily comes there, she still, protects her friend, that is her best friend. By the way, that nurse was so annoying. It's like, you want me to leave? And it's like, look, it's okay. And then she brought up the birds are coming soon. I was like, oh my god, just get out of here. She didn't do it. Poor Lily has been through a lot this season, and it's like, give her a break. So Marge, I was happy about this because I was worried about Marge being like this awful, was it material girl? No, right? Oh my god, bad girl, whatever you want to call
Mean girl.
Mean girl, thank you. I don't know why I was forgetting that. Mean girl. But I was happy she was the good girl, and she apologized to Lily for her treatment and not believing her, which is great. So we got a new member of I call this the Loser Club. If anyone knows, that's the group that the original was in the It movies. So she joins with the Losers Club of this timeline, the 60s. And so when she returns, with Wani, Will, and Richie discuss their next move. That's the I do agree with Jeff. It's crazy that these kids are they're afraid of Pennywise. I think they're doing a way better job than the Losers Club did in the movies, where they actually try their best to actually get evidence of, proven evidence of Ronnie's dad's innocent, where literally no one is even trying to do that. It's just crazy. And despite the kids are getting scared of Pennywise, they're still pressure on, which I at least I give them chops, because sometimes the Losers Club barely did anything productive in the movies. I was like, oh my god. So I liking this group more than the ones in the movies. So they discussed their plans, and this was a big twist. So they found someone in a tent, randomly right there, and they are shocked to discover that is Maddie alive. He's alive with long hair, like he's a like a rock star, from the 70s or something like that. And he states that he was in the sewers. Apparently, he was kept prisoner by a clown, and he escaped while the clown slept. I was like, okay, that's just okay. And then he also confirms that Teddy and Susie, the other two children that were from the pilot, are dead, but Phil might still be alive, yet paralyzed, he said. So really nice foreshadow if you know about Pennywise and how he abducts the kids and his lair and all that. Which we'll see. Well, which we kind of saw briefly in last week's episode when Dick was going through Tent's mind. When he saw his grandma? Yes, his grandma, and it was like that from the movies as well. But let me stop there. because there's a lot in the mid section. So let me go to you, Jesse. What you thought about this opening up to the reveal of Manny being alive? What you thought about this section?
Right. So I was expecting a lot more of Lily being like sent back to Juniper Hill or something. I mean, I know, when we left it was like Marge was laying on the ground screaming bloody murder, missing an eye, and here's Lily with a knife over her, and all the kids walk in, and they see what's going on. So I was like, oh, surely she's going to be, that's where we're going to start next episode, is she's going to endure some more stuff at Juniper Hill or something like that. And that didn't happen. And I assume because Marge probably, she finally, which is great. You mentioned how she was a mean girl and just kind of wanting to fit in with the in crowd, the patty cakes, if I remember correctly.
Correct.
Right. She was like, so I did not like Marge at all at the beginning of this season. And then she has this run-in with, Pennywise, whatever, the entity, makes her see these things, and she ends up cutting her own eye out. So I assume she is starting to realize that Lily is not as crazy as the other ones. And plus she was her friend before. So I assume that's why Lily wasn't at Juniper Hill. Marge must have said, okay, hey, please, just she didn't do anything. All right, great. So yeah, and I guess it's a good reason because now Marge is in on the gang, right? Like she's going with them up to what is the place that they're at? Like this big lighthouse? It's not a lighthouse. It's
no, it's not a lighthouse. It's sort of like a abandoned building.
Okay, it just looks over like a good part of the town.
Yeah.
So yeah, they get up there and here's Maddie. And now this is one thing that this series does very well. And it is, you can't trust just about anything. I mean, you don't know if that is Maddie or if it isn't. What you know about it, if you apply that to this now, you were just talking about it, what we've seen Pennywise do in the past would make you believe that Maddie can't be sticking around for this long. This is a long play if that's the case. So yeah, you can't trust. You have this unease, this kind of, mistrust of just about anything that you can see because you start to realize what's going on. But okay, well, if you're in that camp of you can't trust anything you see, all right, that's fine. But all of a sudden, if you're in the other camp, you're like, hey, Maddie's back, and now it's going to give the kids a reason to kind of go down and face this thing or do something to try and rescue. So we know the kids are probably going to do that, even though you're screaming at the television, go to the cops. Go, hey, here's Maddie. Here's physical evidence. This kid is back. He was not killed by, what is his name? Ronnie's dad? I cannot remember his name. Frank. He wasn't, he wasn't killed.
Hank. I'm sorry.
Hank. Okay. He wasn't killed. Now, granted, I don't know how far that would get them because he's still accused of murdering the other two at the theater, or the other three. But either way, here's Maddie. So yeah, again, you can't trust what you can see, or you can. And if you're excited Maddie's back, okay, great. If you're not, I don't blame you for not trusting what you're seeing there. So that's all I got for that opening part. What's up, Cyber?
Hey, Cyber.
Hello.
All right, Cyber. Let me get to Jeff, and then we'll go to you last. Jeff, your thoughts on the midsection up to the reveal of Maddie being alive? Go.
Yeah, I mean, I was fucking shocked with that whole tent deal and scene. I was like, what the fuck is going on with this shit, man? You know what I'm saying? I was actually like tweaking out a little bit watching that shit, like thinking to myself, holy fuck, like what is in that tent? You know what I'm saying? Like this is not good, And I was expecting like the most horrible fucking like shit to come out of that tent. You know what I'm saying? To be honest with you, so I was shocked when it was that kid. And they did a good job in the makeup room making him look like he'd been, stuffed in Pennywise's lair for like 2 weeks, you know, like he looked bad, you know, like really out of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, when I first saw him, when he first came out of the tent, I didn't know if he was going to like make it, like survive. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, he looked like he was actually like really seriously injured or something, you know? So I didn't know what the fuck was going on. You know what I'm saying? You know, and honestly, like, you know, you know, the one girl, you know, going to visit the girl that everybody thinks she cut up, you know, that, you know, got cut in her eye or whatever. You know, hearing them talk about like, you know, how they can't go to any adults about this crazy Pennywise shit that they're experiencing and all that, because if they do, they're gonna end up in Juniper Hill or whatever, you know, insane asylum. You know, that's fucking crazy, bro. In real life, you know what I'm saying? Just imagine, like, you know, if that was actually your reality as a kid. You know what I'm saying? You know, like that'd be fucked up. You know, to be in that position. You know what I'm saying? You know, but hey, you know, that's just one of, you know, the unfortunate, you know, evil aspects of Derry, you know, as a town, you know what I mean? You know, is that reality, you know what I mean? You know, where like, you know, not only do adults not see Pennywise, right, but like they don't even believe in like, you know, in like the crimes he commits. You know what I'm saying? You know, like, you know, they all have to be explained in some human way. You know what I mean? No matter what, you know? And it doesn't matter how fucking crazy the crime is or murder is or whatever, you know? You know, I just think it's like so like confusing and like intriguing, you know, with Pennywise at times. You know, how like, you know, we all can tell, obviously, that he has the ability to, you know, the power to conjure up visual effects or whatever you want to call them. You know what I'm saying? Images, right? You know, that people can see, you know, kids can see, you know, or adults or anybody, right? But more with kids, you know, that, you know, he can basically like recreate any kind of like sort of scene that he wants, right? You know, and so, I mean, you know, at times, you know, you get the impression that, he doesn't actually do anything but scare the kids when he like, you know, will show up, you know, in like one of his crazy clown modes or in some other mode or whatever, you know, and he looks all scary or whatever, you know, and then you only see him like kind of eating in the sewers, like in his lair. But then other times he'll actually kill somebody, you know. Like, you know, he'll have like, you know, the fake visuals, you know what I'm saying? But then tangibly actually like, you know, inflict violence, you know, or like kill a kid, you know what I mean? Or whatever, or rip an arm off, you know, like it's fucking scary and it's freaky because you can't, you know, you don't know what he's capable of, you know what I mean? And he's just very powerful, you know, when it boils down to it, you know? I find it very amusing, you know, that the military on the show thinks that they're going to take on Pennywise with guns, right? Like, that's kind of funny to me, to be honest with you. I thought that they would be more inventive than that, to tell you the truth. I did. You know, even for it being 1962, I thought they would have some you know, some technology going or something, you know, like some Stranger Things type shit, you know, going on, like, you know, something. Not just like, you know, M16s, you know. I don't know. I don't think you can kill Pennywise with guns or bullets or whatever. I don't think he dies from being shot, you know? You know, at least I don't think. I love that main child actor, whatever her name is, Holly or whatever her name is. You know,
Really?
yeah, the one that you know, got committed at Juniper Hill or Hall or whatever earlier in the show. She's great. She's the best one out of all the kids, I think. I really like her. She actually pulls off being scared and like terrified and all that very well, you know, and like in a very authentic fashion, I think. You know, but this collection of kids they have on the show is pretty decent, I think. You know, the acting with those kids is pretty solid. It's no Stranger Things, you know, but it's pretty decent. You know, I'm trying to think. How far did you say that we were going, Andres?
Just up to the batting.
Oh, just up to the 10th
yeah,
seed or
just up
whatever,
to
you
the
know?
10th. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, again, you know, I mean, it's amazing that later on they're able to convince Maddie to be able to fucking go back to the layer, you know, because like the way he acts at first is like, you know, hey, motherfucker, I'm never going back, you know? Like this shit was bad. You know what I'm saying? You know, and they fooled the audience really good. I mean, you never even like thought at all for a minute that was Pennywise, right? Like nobody did, you know. So hats off to them, you know, for pulling that off, right? That was nice. You know, way to fool the audience, right? The Indian stuff, you know, all that, Indian heritage, you know, tribal Indian element that they've added to the show now is great. I love it. You know, it's a great fun element to add into the mix. And you know, I feel bad for fucking Danny. You know, I mean, you know, what Halberd or whatever did to him, whatever when he mind fucked him, you know, like really fucked him up. You know, and you know, and I don't think he makes out very well, but you know, overall in this episode, I don't think he ends up, you know, going out very well. Although we don't see it, you know, I have a bad feeling for him.
Yeah, well, when we get into that, like, hit the sewer scene recap, I was like the last time we see him is that he dropped the pillar that his aunt had, and then he was like, oh, I'm out of here, and like that's it, like. We don't know. Same thing with Dick. Like the army, the General Shaw doesn't know that Dick is either alive or dead. You know, so we'll see next week.
I have to say too that I'm a little bit shocked with Dick. You know, like how big of balls he has. You know, even though he's young and he's not as old as he is in The Shining and all that, and I get that. He still is like supernatural. He has the shine. You know, and all that. You know what I'm saying? So like. He's already like, you know, bumped into Pennywise already once, right?
Yes.
I'm just kind of shocked that he couldn't tell just from that encounter, like how big of a fucking like badass, you know, and like how bad, like, you know, what of an idea it was to like actually like go down to the sewers, right? I'm just kind of shocked that he was like, you know, just totally okay with like, you know, whatever the general wanted to do with like the mission, you know? That's all.
Yeah. No, good point. I'll get into it. I saw one YouTuber who did like a recap of this episode, and I kind of agreed. It somehow, because of its layer is underground, he seems more powerful underneath there. But when he's out there, from his layer, he could be less powerful. You know, where that's where Dick is more powerful because he's in a more open area or something like that. But I think that is kind of interesting that, when Dick was down there, he didn't know the difference between like it was there and all that. What else? Oh, and Jesse, you brought up March did say before Lily was going to say something to her. She did say, I told them that, you were not like, you're not the reason you
were not trying to cut my eyeball out.
Yeah. she did say that before. So like, that's why she probably wasn't in the psych ward and all
That's
that.
good. That's good.
Yeah. So that was nice. I was very happy that March did that. Okay. Cyber, welcome, sir. We're talking about the opening scene here, where, from the beginning where we see March, the two girls talking, and, saying their like sorries to each other as friends. The end point is where the Losers Club, the 60s Losers Club meeting up with oh my god, I forgot his name now. Maddie, the kid that was from the pilot and that he seemed is alive. Go ahead, sir.
All right, so the beginning of the episode is pretty decent. It's not too shabby. I think that it starts off good. We get to see that the girl, her eye is healing, and that her eye is going to be okay, even though all the crazy stuff that happened. I think that worked out really well, and they have that, her and what's her face have the little, moment, which is great. And, of course, we kind of get some inkling of what's going on with leading to, that the government going after Pennywise and stuff like that. We get kind of that idea. We get that great glimpse and stuff like that. We really have that kind of that moment there that leads to them going to, meet up the 60s Loser Club, like you said, and, them all, meeting up at that little hideaway that they decide to be their clubhouse, whatever you want to call it. And, while they're all up there and all of a sudden they find out that, there's somebody in their tent, they're like, "What? Who's in there? Come out, say who you are." And then it ends up being Maddie, because how it's kind of making its way out through the entrance of the tent. You're kind of like, is it a monster? What's going on here? Like, what's in there, And all of a sudden it pops out and it's Maddie's head, and you're like, that freaking dude? Like, what the hell? What are you doing there? Like, I thought you were dead, bro. Like, I didn't think you were alive. So him popping up, you're kind of like, this is a little suspicious. Like, there's something definitely going on here. But I think they did a good job of, just like everyone's kind of mentioned, you didn't think that was Pennywise at all. That, you thought that was Maddie. So I think that was a really clever kind of idea of, Pennywise penetrating the Losers Club even more, which I think that, that shows just how powerful Pennywise is. And that this is just not some creature you can fuck with and, you can use conventional weapons on it. No, this thing is some sort of alien creature or whatever that came down in some sort of ship and has fragments of pieces of his ship around that has some sort of magical powers that allows it to be this, living thing for hundreds and thousands of years. And you're just kind of like, wow, if he is able to pretend to be that kid, who else has he pretended to be? Who else has he, pretended to be? And you're thinking you're actually talking to that person. So I think that's another whole can of worms that's going to be opened up eventually, I think, probably, because you're going to be like, wow, like, what else could he have deceived us on? So I think that, that Maddie popping up there, you're kind of like, okay, I thought that kid was dead, but at the same time, you're like, oh, maybe he did get away. I don't know, and you're like, ew, this is interesting. Like, how's that even possible? I mean, Pennywise, he's this, creature that you just can't get away from very easily. So I think it was very interesting, kind of his conversation a little bit about explaining how he had gotten away, and that there was, of course, that person was dead, but then this other person was barely alive, and you're just kind of like, oh, okay, well, that. And so somehow you managed to get completely away scot-free and you're fine? Like, that makes no sense. I'm sorry, Maddie, but I'm sure you've been through some world of hate or whatever, down there, but something's not right. I mean, come on, something's not right. So I think this is a really good introduction to the episode. I think it starts it off really strong and really gets you into the material of the episode. So very strong start.
Thank you, Cyber. Yeah, I agree. Well, give a shout out to the actor that plays Maddie. He was really great in this episode. Like, he really sold that he was really Maddie. And as we all discussed, like, you didn't know he was gonna be Pennywise in disguise, and it's like, oh my god, pure genius. And something I mean, the movies, again. Did before, but it never this extent before. Like, it was really cool that they really went for that, And I agree with Cyber, because this is not the only time that Pennywise took a human form. This is something that was briefly touched in Chapter 2 with some circus owner or something like that, which I think we're gonna get in next week's episode of another human disguise that he took. So I'm very curious of what we're gonna do with that. But anyway. So let's get into our, this now big section. So now we see, with the information that Dick Halloran has retrieved from the boy he kind of interrogate, and I love how we cut back to him from the flashback from last week. He comes out and then this kid was having a seizure, which was kind of crazy. I was like, wow. And I don't know if this was a cool nod, because this is how Danny had this in the Stanley Kubrick movie. If you remember, when I don't know, it was either I think Danny was sensing his dad going to room 237, and then I think he was having some seizure, and like he was dribbling like saliva, which was just so weird. So I don't know if they did that intentionally to like reference the movie here, you know. But anyway, just gonna give a shout out to that. So Shaw instructs you know, Leroy and Fowler to supervise the operation of the house in Newbolt Street. By the way, another great thing about this episode was going back to the house. They really did a good job recreating the house from the movies. Like we saw briefly the house, some of the houses, but the well is a big thing in the movie. So it was really cool to see that again. So after they go to the well, where they will find the 13 pillars, as we discussed last week. Despite Rose protest, they intend to use Tendo as a guide to the sewers. And I do agree with Jeff. I really like the Indian stuff. It was briefly touched on chapter 2, but not as extended like this show has done, which is great. So I really like the Indian storyline here, where they know about Pennywise, and they have the weapon that can, like, you know, hold back this creature, which we actually see later on in this episode, which is cool. So, you know, she instructs her, you know, her nephew to take the pillar she has and use that, you know, just in case the creature comes after him or whatever. So, you know, descending into the sewers, Hollywood submerges in the water, and then where he finds himself in the bathroom with his grandparents. By the way, very creepy. In their conversations reveal that Holland keeps a box, and his grandfather mocks him to open it. During this time, where like some of the soldiers are killed by spirit, obviously Pennywise killed them, and then while so this part here, this is the last thing we're going to see. The nephew, while Tento escapes from Fowler's watch, but drops the pillar Rose gave to him in the process. So that's gone, but it will get resurfaced to another owner. And then this is the last. This is the wrap up here. And then Leroy and Polly are taunted by the premise that takes the form of Charlotte, and they agree to shoot Indy that seems out of place. So let me stop there. Let me get back to you, Cyber. What are your thoughts on seeing the soldiers going through the house from the It movies, and the end point is Leroy and Polly seeing the presence of the wife, and then they discuss that, all right, we'll take each turn to see if either or not our friends are real or not. Go ahead. That's the end point. I'm sorry.
So this part is, quite interesting when they first, make their way to the house. We get to see the outside, of course, and we get to see them enter it, and we get to see the well and all that kind of stuff that we saw in the film. And, just like you said, I think that they did such a great recreation of what was in the well in the film. Like, it really looked like the exact same set. It was so well done. And you can see the quality, because as we mentioned before, in HBO series, they always are very high quality. They're always very well done. So, I mean, they had the money to back it, to be able to, make it look as authentic as they could. And I think they did a really good job there. And, the military going in and like just having weapons and stuff like that, like normally taking out like some sort of bad guy or whatever. This is not your normal bad guy to go in just like that with just guns. This is not that kind of situation, because when you're dealing with something supernatural, there's a lot more factors involved here. And especially with a creature like Pennywise, the alien creature he is not your normal supernatural entity. He's not just like a ghost. He's not just like, he's actually a physical thing that is able to manipulate time and space, basically. So That's pretty damn impressive if you think about it. So going in like that, like full on like military ops, I was kind of like, this isn't gonna. I don't think this is gonna end good. I don't think this is gonna end well. Either we're gonna lose some soldiers or something's gonna happen, bad or whatever. And once they make their way into the sewer system and everything, and they're making their way, and we have, the dad of one of the loser club guy and his little buddy guy that's like his sidekick, making their way through it and stuff like that too. And when they're making their way through, there's like kind of nothing really going on, but definitely some different, things that shouldn't be going on. It's kind of like very subtle. It's not very distinct, but it's very subtle things. And then we get the wife popping up. You're like, what the fuck is she doing down here? Like, right. What the hell? Like, last time we saw her, she was at when that gentleman, the girl from the Losers Club, dad was being transported to Shawshank. Okay, we gotta make sure we talk about that. The mention of Shawshank is so freaking awesome every time they mention it in this series because it brings back the thought process of being a part of the Stephen King universe. But at the same time, talking about Shawshank Redemption, the movie, which is one of the best Stephen King adaptations, I think. Talking about that prison is freaking awesome. I absolutely love that they keep talking about it like, oh, you're going to be transported to Shawshank. It's like almost like in reality if you were to be sent to San Quentin. San Quentin is probably one of the biggest prisons you will hear about any serial killer being sent to, or even anybody that was in the public eye that was sent to prison. San Quentin was a big prison in California. So, that right there, I think is very similar to Shawshank. So I think that's really cool. So I love that. But the last time we saw her, she was at that, watching him getting put onto the bus to go to Shawshank. And so you're like, she was there like a few minutes ago. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, wait, she is now in the sewers all of a sudden trying to find you? Like, why? Why would she be in there looking for you? She knows you're working on something top secret and something that is, you're not supposed to know about. And we've already established that she's like, yeah, you can't talk about it. You can't talk about it earlier in the series. So, her doing that thing or whatever, it's kind of like, you're like, this is not right. This is not really her. This can't be her. And then all of a sudden when like they shoot at it and it like supposedly dead, but then you look down at it and then its face alters, you're like, yep, that's a freaking Pennywise thing. That's a damn Pennywise thing. You're like, oh, oh, okay. You're like, oh yeah, we're starting to get Pennywise fucking with the military. Okay, awesome. And I think that scene is done really well. I really enjoyed that scene because I thought that it played out very well. I thought the acting by both the actors was done really well. And I don't know, for some reason, I enjoyed watching her get shot. I mentioned this before. I can't stand that actress. So, it was kind of like, ooh, like, did she just actually get killed? I'm like, ah. And I know that's horrible. I know it's horrible, people. Anyways, but still at the same time, it's like, oh, wait, it's just a manifestation. It's just Pennywise. It's all good. Nothing actually happened. And it was kind of like, damn, like, wow, it's really fucking with you. But I think it's a good section. I think there's quite a bit that goes on there. I mean, we get some great recreation of things that we saw in the movies. We got some really great, like kind of military-esque things going on that leads to a very interesting encounter with Pennywise. And I think that overall it's a decent section. It keeps you entertained, and I don't feel it's very slow. It doesn't take away, and I think it provides a lot of great entertainment.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you, Cyber. Thank you, Cyber, for bringing up the Hank subplot because of course I'm doing the recap with the PA here, and they mentioned the shank shot towards the end of the sentence of this summary. So I'm not gonna get that to there, but please, everyone, if you remember what was going on during this section, I'm gonna talk about with you guys now. Just bring up the scenes that were missing because that storyline is like spread in between these scenes. But anyway, so let me get to you, Saber. Not Saber. I'm sorry, Jeff. Yeah, I'm losing my mind right now.
You can't go to the same person twice, sir.
Yes, I know. I'm sorry. I think Pennywise caught me, and like he's now. I thought I was not a cyber. You know. I'm sorry. I was in my shine just now. I was like, oh my god. Anyways, Jeff, I'm talking to you, Jeff. It's your turn, sir. Your thoughts on this section. The end point is pretty much Leroy and Polly getting taunted by Pennywise by being the form of the wife, Charlotte. Go ahead.
Well, again, the kids are always really fucking ballsy, man, in these fucking properties. You know what I'm saying, when it comes to going down those sewers and shit like that. I'm telling you, man. At no point when I was a kid would you have ever been able to fucking convince me for any reason at all. I don't care who the fuck was down there in the sewer alive still or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Would you convince me fucking to go down into those fucking scary ass sewers or whatever with nothing but a flashlight to defend myself? You know what I'm saying? To go fucking like kick it with fucking Pennywise or whatever, right? Fuck that in like the real world. You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry, but like, I mean, I'd be terrified as fuck to like go down there, I mean, that motherfucker is so like fucking creative in terms of like being able to horrify and scare the fuck out of you like as a kid, right? Going to like his home, where he's like, and is like, most powerful or whatever, is almost like fucking suicide, but yeah, I mean, I don't know, yeah, the Indian, element, scenes and stuff like that, building up to the military mission are cool, how they have, that object or whatever from like the spaceship or some shit, or whatever, that they can, that can actually be used as a weapon against Pennywise, right? I thought it was, interesting how the different Indian folks on the show are trying to be all hush hush and keep it like on the DL in front of the military, like they don't want these secrets out, right, publicly, right? Because they know how dangerous, Pennywise is. I mean, again, as much as I've dug the whole like military mission to find Pennywise so far during this season of the show, I'm just a little bit like, was a little bit shocked, at how small their party was for the mission,
right?
For one, and then the fact that like all they have to fight Pennywise is fucking guns and bullets, right? And I don't know. I'm just a little bit shocked in the audience that, the major or whatever, the main guy, the general guy that knows about Pennywise from his childhood, right? And we learned that, that he only remembers it because of him being a participant in one of those, military experiments they had back in the 50s and 60s where they experimented with LSD and meth and all that shit, which really happened, of course, right? There's videos on YouTube where you can see them, like they're short, but they're on there, which is crazy that YouTube has that, right? But they do. I've seen them. And they're actually kind of silly, to be honest with you. They're not all that funny, It's a bunch of fucking dumbasses running around on acid, fucking
climbing trees and shit.
Doing stupid drills and shit, and like fucking up the drills and everything, like running around all stupid and shit, laying down sleeping and shit instead of like doing the drill or whatever, I mean, somewhat funny, but but so I was just a little bit shocked by like the how small the mission party was. I'm like, come on, man, like it's fucking Pennywise, dude. You know what I'm saying? Like send in like 50 motherfuckers, Come on. I mean, seriously. But then again, it is the sewers, though, So, like, how many people can you really send in one, like, shot, right? having to like, rappel down the fucking scary ass well, that right there is fucked up. You know what I'm saying? The fact that you got to go through that well, like to get up in there. You know what I'm saying? That is fucking, that is like fucked up and like scary and a bad sign of like, what's going to happen down the road, That's never good, man. You know what I'm saying? Again, I would never go down or enter that creepy ass well in the ancient Derry, Massachusetts sewers that have been there since 1750. Yeah, I'm gonna go down in that well, right? Nah, man, fuck that, bro. Hats off to those kids, man. Like, their fucking plan to like take drugs or whatever, like to somehow like not see Pennywise or some shit or whatever the fuck they thought was gonna happen was very like, creative, I guess. You know what I'm saying? As we'll talk about, it didn't really work out all that well, but that was definitely, interesting that they went in that direction, right? I'm not sure what kind of medication they took. I wasn't really sure, but whatever they took, yeah, I mean, again, I don't know, man. The fact that fucking they lost Dick Halbert or whatever, immediately he just jumped into that pool and he was gone. Pennywise fucking grabbed him and like dragged him into like another realm or some shit. You know what I'm saying? Like to where he just disappeared in the water. That's fucking crazy, bro. Again, like Pennywise's powers are just like immense. You know what I'm saying? He can do anything he wants at times, like wherever he took fucking Dick to or whatever was like an alternate space. Like, it wasn't real. It was like a different dimension almost, right? Or else it was just like, inside of like his head or something like that. I'm not sure, right? How that works, him being stuck like, in that bathroom with his grandmother and the grandfather, with that locked box is fucking scary, man. Because if anybody that saw Dr. Sleep knows, those locked boxes contain fucking demons and ghouls and fucking, like supernatural entities and shit like that, That's why that shit is locked, right? So, that's bad shit in there. So I'm just amazed as usual by like Pennywise's powers and the stuff he can do, I mean, it makes sense that, since Dick already has his own supernatural shine powers, that connecting with Pennywise and fucking with Pennywise, could cause Pennywise to even, display powers we've never seen before, when encountering Dick. Yeah, I mean, I was a little bit, again, just like surprised that they sent the like the aviators, like, the top pilot guys, the black guy and that has the family, and his partner or whatever. Like, why did they send them down to the sewers? Those guys fly planes, right? Like, that was a little bit weird. I didn't understand that, like why they would be like on that mission personally. But whatever. They're main characters of the show. So but yeah, the whole like, the wife showed up and turned into a demon ghoul deal or whatever, by Pennywise, and then running away in the water, like retreating backwards, was definitely really, really creepy and freaky, and that's it.
Thank you, Jeff. Yeah, it was really cool to see the box when Halloween got his the flashback. I was like, oh my god, they're doing it for Dr. Sleep. I
still don't understand that concept 100%, because for one thing, again, I never saw the actual film Dr. Sleep. I only saw scenes of it, right? Yeah. So I missed bits and pieces of it. I never read the book, right? Yeah. So they really didn't explain, what's actually in those boxes or those containers, that these shine people use, right? But I know it's bad shit. It's bad juju, bad demons.
Yeah. So I can explain it. So in the film Dr. Sleep, so Danny, after him and his mom escaped from the Overlook Hotel, the spirits of the Overlook Hotel have followed Danny.
Yeah,
in
they haunt him.
it haunts him. And of course, now this is different from the book because Hollywood actually survived from The Shining, but in the movies he's dead because of Stanley Kubrick. So the spirit of Holland is talking to Danny. He tells him that we were seeing right now that look, when I was a kid, I hold the evil spirits in this container or the box, and so he tells Danny to do that so he can keep all the evil spirits from the Overlook Hotel to not bother him. So he locked them into the box, which we'll see again, and a really cool payoff in the finale of Doctor Sleep. That's how Rose the hack gets killed. It's by the bunch of spirits from the Overlook Hotel. So we're seeing this version of Holland that he had his own box. Now we're getting that information that his grandfather was the evil spirit. He was abusive to him and his grandma, as we see in this as this brief flashback, and that he has built a black box for him to contain his grandfather's poly evil spirit. And so that's what we're seeing here, and that's what we saw towards the end when Holland actually did survive from the Pennywise attack, whatever. That he saw the dead friend, because him and Danny do see the dead, and they they get the sense of the shine.
Well, we're not that far yet in the episode.
No, I'm sorry.
We don't know how that dead body was reanimated and walking around and all that. You know what I'm saying? We don't know for sure.
No, I don't want to spoil it. I'm just saying that's not a reanimating thing. It's just a spirit that Holland just sees. So it's just like it's if you've seen those movies.
Okay, like The Shining.
Yeah, just like The Shining. It's not a reanimating corpse. It's just like he's just seeing the friend in this now spirit world, that he's now a ghost and all that.
That's right.
So,
yeah, that's right. Yeah. Because they delve into that whole realm of the supernatural. Yeah.
Supernatural thing. So that's something that's another universe that they're just pulling from The Shining / Doctor Sleep books / the movies. So I just want to explain that.
So real quick, the lockbox.
Yes, the lockbox.
The lockbox. Could you show us your shirt?
Yeah.
Okay. So what's going through my head is a ghost trap from Ghostbusters.
I was like oh god, I forgot the name of the box that the Ghostbusters used.
I only know it's a ghost trap or whatever.
Something. Oh my god! Now I'm a fail.
You're gonna have to. You're wearing a shirt. You can't think of it. Way to go!
I'm sorry. I'm the worst
fake fan.
I should take this shirt off. And, it's just.
But yeah, that's kind of what, because I didn't know anything about what you were talking about there. As far as I had honestly.
Surprisingly, Jesse, it's a really like a big leap, to add something like that from that Dr. Sleep film into the show. Right. I'm surprised they did that. It's a big move because, honestly, most people would not know what that is.
Yeah. I had to do the same thing. I was looking at some reviews and trying to figure out, okay, what exactly is the shine. But before I got on here, I was a little prepared because I now kind of have a better understanding of what it is, but I wasn't getting that through when I was watching it at first. I just knew it was Pennywise had some kind. This show is built on trauma. I mean, it's all about traumatizing children. And of course, Halloran's going through this, reliving this experience, and Pennywise is weaponizing that trauma, trying to get him to open this lockbox. I don't know what the hell's in it. I just know it has something to do with his powers, when I'm watching this. So I'm glad that's a good explanation. I have a better handle of it there. So
yeah. And speaking of Pennywise, because Pennywise does have the powers of because he sensed the fear. I am curious, just like the Overlook Hotel did sense Danny's powers, which that adds questions to me, why didn't it take Harlan's powers? But anyway, does Pennywise know that he has this greater power that he wants? Does he will become a victim to Pennywise? Because that's something that I can.
I don't believe the shine is a power that you can inherit by eating it. You know what I'm saying? I don't think you can obtain the power from a person that has the shine. I don't think that would work.
Well, because I that part I do agree, because I don't know how to in the Shining book, if Jack did kill Den, that's how the the overlooked spirits. Let me be specific. The ghosts.
Pennywise is an alien. His powers are alien. The Shine is a human power.
I mean, I know that he could easily take that power by like sucking his soul, like a vampire, maybe. But I don't want to go too far. But we'll see if they play that up. But anyway.
I don't want to. Yeah, don't go down that rabbit hole because Pennywise doesn't eat souls, and you already know that.
No. You have to. Yeah, because he just. Like,
he doesn't eat the kids' souls.
No, right? No. Like he just eats them, and then they just.
He feeds off the fear.
That's the fear.
Yeah, the fear or something like that. Because I'm trying to remember the movies, but it seems more like that. You're saying, Jeff, but
I think he does occasionally actually eat the kids too. You know what I'm saying? Like the kid said, he ate the brains or whatever. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to go on and on. You know what I mean? But overall, he eats the fear. Yeah.
No. Good point. Now I remember this because no, he doesn't suck the souls because when he does his open his mouth and you see the two eyes in there, that's just him possessing his victim so that it'd be easier for him to kill. So no. I remember now a little bit what Pennywise does because he doesn't do the soul sucking thing as you're saying, Jeff. So speaking of the kids. So let's get back to the. Oh, sorry, Jesse, you're the last person. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, you guys all covered everything that I pretty much would have said. I think what I got so excited for at this point in the show is that, hey, it's the military versus it. It's the military versus Pennywise, and just like you said, how can things go bad? Because they are going to go bad. Jeff, you were talking about the size of the strike team that was going in there. That was going through my head too. I'm like, geez, send everybody you got to go in there and try and take this dude out. But we got to, I think the only justification I could say for sending in somebody small or a strike team that's small was there like 4 people? Was it 4 or 5? Because there's some guys that get messed up. I know that's going, I think that happens at some point where I don't know if it's before Leroy and Paul.
It was 6 people. Yeah.
6 of them?
Well, 7. Yeah.
So it's a small team. And I know that the general obviously understands that Leroy has that injury to where he can probably be the best one to withstand whatever's going to happen. He doesn't feel fear. Is that what it is? That brain injury has left him with a situation where he doesn't feel fear. So he's going to be the best weapon that they have. Now, as for the other guys that go with them, I mean, I think the only thing the general is hoping for there is that, they can hopefully make it out in one piece. But if you go in there with a large strike team, I think the general is also making a smart decision because if he sends a bunch of people in there, he already knows how powerful this thing is. And it's just going to, that's more deaths that's probably going to be on his hands, or he's going to turn, Pennywise is going to turn these guys loose on the town or something crazy. You never know. But yeah, I was thinking the same thing. And that's kind of what, when I first started the series, I was like, holy crap, the military is involved. This is something I wasn't expecting because that's not what you get in what I've seen, from the recent film and the mini series or anything like that. The military wasn't some kind of thing that was investigating this entity. So I dug that. I think it's very important, the synopsis, I'm looking at the same synopsis there, Andres, where they talk about how right at the end, when he shoots Charlotte and Charlotte squiggles away and he looks over at, Paulie and he's like, shoot anything that shouldn't be down here, it seems out of place. And as soon as he says that, that's a great way of making the viewer be really on edge because we know, and you're about to get into it, as to what else is happening at the same time. There are if he's safety's off and anything that you see shouldn't be down here, you're going to shoot it. Well, there's some other things down here that are down here right now because of Maddie. And oh my goodness, are their paths going to cross? Well, let's find out.
Yeah, I agree with this. Thank you for bringing it up because, and I just want to address it before we head to the next one with the kids. Yeah, I agree with you guys. Now thinking about it, I was like, why did Shaw just send a small team, and why risk not only Dick, because Dick easily your best weapon, you know, to like even to like either like detain Pennywise or whatnot, you know. So like, why risk that, and why send a small army to like? Well, first off, I tend to remind people this mission is not about Pennywise. It's trying to like locate the
get the
other
pillars.
the pillars.
Right.
That's the thing that I think, because there's so much going on in this episode. Is I forget that no, the mission is just getting the pillars. It's not Pennywise yet, because he knows that he wants to get the pillars to at least get tame Pennywise in the next step, you know. And we see that, you know, when we get into it. Yeah, so I always like now talking about it, it's like, oh no. Shaw is thinking, as you're saying, Jesse, very, you know, strategic about it. It's like, look, I'm trying to find, if possible, the pillars, but you know, and you know, obviously, you know, I'm kind of curious what's the next step, because you know it didn't went well, really. Um, and another thing I did, now we remember this now, but Leroy is such a not a person with fear, like literally the most fear person of any, like the kids, they were like, they get scared, but they were not even scared at all. Like what happened, like they were even more fearless than him. Like
Right.
I don't know what Shaw sees in him. Like you're the most fear person. You're conditioned not to be fear. I'm like, what the hell? Just now from this episode, then last episode, your boy is being scared easily compared to kids, and you know, compared to his partner, who, you know, we'll get into. I'm so sad. Like he had more common sense, and he knew what was reality or not. You know, like Inception level. I just I don't know what, like Leroy is so special. Like he just got scarred, and that's it. Like that doesn't make him be fearless. You know. I just need to address that, because when he got like shocked about his wife, I was like, I don't know, you should be like fearless, but not really. So well, so our next recap is the kids. So Lily, Ronnie, Will, Rich, and Marge and Manny enter the sewers. As Jeff said before, these kids are so fearless compared to the dad. It's like the fact that they're going to the sewers is like, oh wow, they're really taking this step of trying to prove, you know, the innocence of Ronnie's dad, Hank. So they take some of Lily's mother's pills for anxiety. That's what it was. I think it's the pills are about anxiety. Jeff, you were bringing up before, like, what were the pills? In my notes, they're for, like, I think anxiety, you know, effects. So yeah, so as they reach a dead end, well, by the way, this was a funny scene, seeing the kids getting so drugged up by the
Yeah.
pills. I was laughing hard, like especially Marge and Richie, like they're talking to each other, and like they have this like psychedelic like it was so funny. I was like, oh my god, the kids are like,
They are high.
yeah, they were high. It was so funny. I thought that was a great humor scene with the kids. You know, I was kind of expecting that. I was like, oh my god, how many pills they took to get that high? You know, it was funny when Lee said like, oh, my mom took these pills many times. You know, to like, you know, to get, you know, calm down or something like that. Yeah. So after they get high, you know, they reach a dead end where they are shocked to see the corpus, not the corpse of Teddy, Susie, and Phil, the victims from the theater, the pilot. And then this is where I was like, whoa, this is definitely from the movies. And we get here Maddie, I say singing, you know, this very creepy song when they find the real Maddie's corpse, which was kind of creepy. They find that, and then the entity transformed into the clown known as Pennywise. We get our full look of the Pennywise clown. It was glorious. It was the best reveal, like one of the best scenes for this episode. I was so happy to see this version, you know, the Pennywise clown look again. And of course, he chases the kids through the sewers, which was great. I love the detail from this scene where we see his eyes glow every time you know, he pops out. That's really cool detail. So the kids, I think, cross paths with. So here, you know, again, the repeat is crazy, but here the kids passes. Well, Ronnie, Marge, Will and Richie meets up with Leroy, but this is where it was really sad. Leroy believes that it has to be another presence of the entity. He shoots at Will, his son, but Polly steps in front of him as he, gets wounded, and Polly asks Leroy to make it count before scrumming to his wound to die for. Really sad. I really like the character Polly. I thought he was very funny in the show, and him sacrificing, to save the kids, and saving Leroy, killing his son. It's like a really big step. So I was really sad, and this is the wrap up. Because we're almost to the end here. So Lily gets lost in the sewer and is confronted by the clown. By the way, that was creepy. He is standing right there and says, saying, all the awful things to her, and it's taunting the kid, as usual. And then he starts opening the mouth just like in the movies. I was like, oh my god! And this again, as Saber said before, you're at HBO. I'm so happy we have the money to really show his different forms and his monstrous mouth, which is a big thing in the in the movies. But and then during this, he takes the form of the father who got shredded in the pickle machine. I was like, oh my god, we see that again. And when he was charging her, he stops because an orange light flickers in the water, forcing Pennywise to retreat. And I was like, whoa, what is it? So the pillar didn't work, I was like, oh hell yeah! Lily expects the light, finding that it's the pillar that tend to drop. And let me stop there because that whole scene is just the glorious Pennywise return. Seeing his form there, and seeing how this pillar actually does work. Because I at first as a movie fan, I don't know if I think this pillar is a new thing for the show, because I don't know, is it from chapter 2, but it was really cool to see that that thing actually works. So let me go to you, Jeff. So what are your thoughts on the kids going to the sewers, finally seeing Pennywise in his full appearance as a clown, and the end point is Lilia getting the pillar now. The pillar actually worked to stop Pennywise. That's the end point. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I do sort of prefer the adult story, of it. Welcome to Derry, more than I like the kid story. I mean, seeing the kids gang up to go down into the sewers, and all that, on a mission, to save the friend and all that kind of stuff, I felt like was a little bit played out, because we've seen it happen before with it, in the films and stuff like that. We've seen this similar deal, right? So that was a little bit contrived, and played out. But I again was very fooled by Pennywise. I'd never ever thought for a minute that kid that was leading them was Pennywise. So I thought that was a great reveal. And the dead kids, that they see in Pennywise's lair, were very horrifying to see, the bodies, like how, kind of mutilated they are after Pennywise is done killing them, yeah, I mean, the girl finding that fucking lost, piece of the ship or whatever, weapon against Pennywise was very lucky on her part, or she would have died right there, So that was a very, 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 well put together situation for her to end up with that fucking object right there under the water, to stop Pennywise, right? Because I thought she was over for sure, honestly, to tell you the truth, I thought it was kind of shocking that all those kids managed to get out of there. Sometimes Pennywise is very inefficient. Sometimes he's very vicious and very quick to kill. Other times he just runs after the people or the kids, and then they get away. That was interesting. I mean, as far as seeing Pennywise in his clown form and all that, I don't really care, you know. Just, you know, another version of Pennywise, you know. It, you know, although it is neat looking, you know, his clown form, and all that. I mean, it doesn't really do a lot for me personally, you know. I don't find it scary or anything like that. You know, it's just interesting, you know, it's neat looking, you know, it's different. But you know, he manifests himself in so many other different terrifying looking forms, you know. You know, again, Danny taking off on his own, solo, you know, taking off from the military, right? And get lost by himself. Man, that's a stupid fucking move to make down there in fucking in the sewers, man. Going out on your own, you know, solo in those sewers, man. And we never saw him again. So I cannot imagine that he made out, you know, well in there. You know, we'll see what happens in this episode. But, you know, I mean, I think you're very much like a lucky person if you manage to like get lost in those sewers and still come out alive. Right.
Right.
So, you know, especially once you lost like your weapon, right? You know, that was a bad move on his part, man. Dropping that fucking, you know, that shard or whatever, you know, whatever that fucking thing is, right? Yeah, that's another interesting component they added to the show, you know, was like for the first time an actual weapon, you know, that works against Pennywise, right? You know, that we never saw that before really in the past, you know, that I can remember, you know. But then again, you know, I guess in the It films, you know, the kids had, you know, those objects or possessions that were like, you know, magical or whatever that were able to like, you know, hurt Pennywise too, you know. So I don't know how all that stuff works, right? But that's it.
Thank you, Jeff. Yeah, this is a new thing. It's been a while I seen chapter 2. I don't think because the way the main Losers Club beat Pennywise was so awful in chapter 2. Or in even chapter 1, I felt like it was kind of weak. Here, I like that there's actually a thing that can kill, like can stop Pennywise, like way more sense and makes a lot more sense than the movies did. This is something I actually like more than. This is what I like that the show is doing more than what the films did, like in terms of how you defeat Pennywise. Because, like, if you think about it, Pennywise is OP. Like, he's literally Superman. You know, like, this is what everyone complains about, is like how OP Superman, Captain Marvel, all that. And like Pennywise is literally the most powerful thing. And
so the shard is kryptonite then.
Yes, I mean it literally is kryptonite.
Yeah.
Like the way it glows, it was like
Right.
literally kryptonite. And, yeah, that's a good point. Oh my god, we're connecting this DC. It's funny. And what was that? Oh yeah,
I honestly, Andres, I don't mean to cut you off, but I mean, I mean, I'd love to see Pennywise fight Captain Marvel or the Hulk or something like that, you know, because I don't know, you know, like the Hulk is pretty powerful, you know, like I know Pennywise is powerful, but I mean, you know, I think the Hulk would fuck him up.
I guess. I mean, yeah, I guess the Hulk can maybe sustain that like fear thing from Pennywise, but then the thing is like Pennywise can calm him down and like get into his head. Like that's the thing. It's like Pennywise has this weird thing where he can mind fuck everyone like easily. It's like I don't know, but he could definitely stop. Like yeah, I think Captain Marvel can definitely be defeated by him, Pennywise, because Pennywise is so powerful.
Yeah, well, yeah, but his actual like body, his physical like body is not that durable.
Well, I don't know what. Well, also he can actually take a form as a monster too. Like in chapter 2, he like transforms into like a big spider.
Yeah. Of course.
Yeah, so I think he could be being durable against the Hulk. Really, I don't think the Hulk can really. I mean, it depends if the gamma radiation from the Hulk can like maybe kill him. Like you know, like I don't know, like if radiation can like hurt Pennywise. You know, that's something we don't like. I don't know how like Pennywise it can resist.
I'm not trying to have that conversation. I'm just saying, you know, like if Hulk just smashed the fuck out of Pennywise, you know what I'm saying? You know, like hardcore. You know what I mean?
That.
Like that would hurt Pennywise. You know?
Yeah, Savage Hulk can do it. Not Smart Hulk. Sorry. If you want my answer, I think yes, Jeff. Savage Hulk can definitely crush Pennywise, but not Smart Hulk. Oh, you brought up yeah, Pennywise. You know, letting his like victims go so easily and not kill them right away. He's such a like taunter. Like he sometimes like savor their fears before he does kill them. Like finally, and. I always wonder, like, just kill them already. Why do you want to waste so much time to like taunt them and like scare them and then after that you're gonna kill them anyway? I'm like, just kill them, dude. Like you're the most powerful killer in this goddamn town. Pardon my French, but like I always wonder what like Pennywise is so like a taunter, Jeff. Like he just wants to taunt his victims before he does.
Well, yeah, it's all. I mean, all that stuff about him eating the brains and all that of the one kid and all that is just bullshit. Like Pennywise doesn't actually do that. He doesn't eat the children. No, it's all the fear.
Yeah, he only he just kills them and
kills them. Oh yeah, he's a murderer. He doesn't eat their bodies.
No, and he doesn't he just collects them sometimes. Like in chapter 1, he keeps some of his victims in his lair, but like most of the time he kills them and just throws them away.
And then he keeps like a part of the person or whatever, right? In the deadlight.
Yes. Yeah, which we see in chapter 1. Like Georgie is floating in the lair, and Beverly in chapter 1 was going to be a victim of that, but no, thankfully the Lucifer Club stop that. Pennywise. Okay. Let me get to you, Jesse. What are your thoughts on the section of the kids in the sewers meeting up with Pennywise and then seeing the pillars actually working against Pennywise? Go ahead.
Right. I mean, really, this comes down. Jeff was not impressed with Pennywise, but I will tell you that I was. I think we got two big things that happen in this episode that make it probably the one that stands out from the rest of the season. Number one, we get our we get our reference to the lockbox, the shine, and all of that in Dick Halloran. So that's huge. That takes a box for a lot of people because it's fun to see that happening in this episode. And then Bill Skarsgård coming back as Pennywise is, I mean, this is his first manifestation as the clown, correct? Like throughout this series. So yeah, for a lot of people, that's going to be a big box that's checked. And I think that his entrance was classic, where it's horrifying as Maddie is he's like twirling around on a pole or something.
Yeah.
I can't remember. He's doing a dance of some sort. And you see Maddie's face is actually the back of Pennywise's head. Yeah. And then, Pennywise is on the other side and he's just going around and you're like, oh my gosh, what is happening? And then the skin just kind of starts to peel off. And then here you go, here's Pennywise. And it's just, number one, you're going like, all right, it's Pennywise. And you're like, oh my gosh, it's Pennywise. This is going to be bad. So it was cool to see him. And then of course, I think his first words are something along the lines of duck and cover kitties.
Yes.
And
that was the line. That was cool. Great
way to bring it in, So yeah, on the whole weapon thing, yeah, it's really cool to see that the Shard has some type of, I mean, he doesn't even want to get near it. Like he is about to kill Lily. It's about to happen. And as soon as he gets within a foot, he stops. And you're like, what is going on? Well, yeah. And then you see the Shards in the water. And so now they have a weapon that they can use. I appreciate it. I obviously, don't want to kill off Lily because she's probably the heroine of this, the focused on heroine of the show. So she's not going to die. And now it gives them it may not be a weapon, but at the very least, it's a way to defend themselves because it's essentially a shield. It's a pillar and at the very least, Pennywise ain't going to mess with you if you have that in your possession. So the death of Polly, I'm right there with you. But again, it feels, it kind of nobody's safe. And luckily, he does this heroic gesture by sacrificing himself so Leroy doesn't kill his own son. I think that's all my notes on it too. I mean, I think that those two things, though, obviously are what set this episode apart for me. That these just Pennywise finally showing up, and Skarsgård's portrayal is epic as always. And then, of course, Halloran's kind of like a little bit of confrontation with Pennywise and what happens to the shine and the lockbox too. So, but that's I want to leave some stuff there on the table for Cyber because I know he's got quite a bit, I'm sure. So there you go. That's my thoughts.
Thank you, Jesse. Yeah. No, really good stuff. Saber, your turn, sir. Pretty much the kids going to the series, me finally Pennywise, coming into the series in full clown, up to the pillar being the thing that stops Penny killing the girl. Go ahead. That's the end point.
So definitely this section, the best part was finally getting to see Pennywise. We're 5 episodes in. We're finally getting to see Pennywise, who is the main antagonist of it. In the book, in the movies, he is the central station of, this series. And so having to wait 4 whole episodes before we even get into him, before we get to see him actually, was, it kind of sucked, but at the same time, it was great to finally get to see him. And I thought they did a great job. They brought him in just like they did in the film, because if you briefly remember, and I believe it was chapter 1, there's the circus sequence where he pops up and he's like doing the circus thing, and all of a sudden he reveals who he is and everything like that. And I feel they do the same kind of thing with this, with his reveal, him actually being Maddie and him turning into Pennywise officially. And you're just kind of like, holy shit. You're like, I didn't see that coming. We knew something was off with Maddie, but we did not know he was Pennywise. Nah, they did a great job of hiding that. So when he is actually ends up becoming Pennywise, you're like, holy shit, that was Pennywise this whole time? Oh, man, this motherfucker could get in anywhere. And you're just like, well, what's he got to go back to? Who could he have been this whole time, But I think it's a great reintroduction. I think, Bill does a great job once again portraying the character, the voice, the mannerism, everything about his, speech and everything and how he talks is fantastic. And I think that the visuals in this scene are really done well. I really enjoyed them. I thought they looked really good. They captured the essence of the It films, that they did, the last 2 that they did. It had that same vibe, that same feel. Annie Muschietti, once again, bringing his charm to the series, brought it with bringing Pennywise back. And, I mean, just the whole song and dance he does in that sequence, you're just like, holy crap, that's freaking awesome. And even, as he's chasing the different people into different areas, you're like, what's he going to do? What's he going to do? And that scene where he's standing there and he's about to attack, the main girl, and he starts dashing down and he's got his big mouth open doing the big, teeth and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden he stops. You're just like, what the fuck? Like, what the hell just happened? And then she bends down and grabs the orb thing. And you're like, well, that's interesting. Like, how the hell did that happen? Like, when did this, become a thing? And you're thinking to yourself, because if I remember in the films, they don't really go deeply into that, but they briefly talk about it in chapter 2, because that kind of is a part of how they're able to kill him in the second film. But at the same time, it doesn't really go really deep into detail. But that being like kind of a way of keeping him stuck there is interesting, because that's the reason why we know that he was stuck in that one specific space in the films. We knew that the ship was somehow keeping him there. Whereas now we're finding out that, they're using pieces, the Indians are using pieces of this to keep him in a barrier around Derry. And you're like, well, that's really interesting. But then the fact that we see it firsthand, that it stops him right in his steps, you're just like, wow, that's really impressive. Why is this ship that he came in Why is it capable of doing that? Why is it against him when it's supposed to be a part of who he is? So that's another interesting thing I like them to really delve into more, which I'm hoping as they go back in time with the next couple of seasons, that they really go deep into why that's possible, why the ship is like a mechanism against him, and why, was he banished to Earth from his original place, like of where he's from, his real origins? Because that would be an interesting story to see. Like, and that's how he's able. That's why he's banished to Earth. That's how he's able to stay on Earth, and he's lived so long is because he's banished there by that ship. So I think that there's a lot of things that they can talk about there, and really go into detail, hopefully, eventually, about those orbs and stuff like that, and the pieces of the ship. But really fantastic sequence. This whole sewer sequence is really amazing, fun. It really dives into it, gives us finally our first appearance of the great Pennywise. We get some great action with Pennywise, really great special effects, and I just really enjoyed it.
Yeah, no, I agree, Cyber. Just stressing, Jesse. What was the part that you were talking about? No, I think it's ever bring up the chapter 2 thing, because chapter 2 did bring up the pillars. I think, who was it? Mike, one of the Loser Club, had one of the pillars, and then nothing like really worked. I think it was very old, and so it didn't work out. But it was that was one of the things that was so frustrating with chapter 2, was like they didn't like really did anything with it. Where here I'm happy that they're doing something with it. Anyway. Good job, guys. So we're now in the end. So this wrap up here is where we get more of the twists. So now we'll get into like the Hank and like the white woman that he had the affair with. So Hank is trans. By the way, I agree with Cyber. It was great. Another great thing that they do in the show. They added another great like Stevie King material. Of course, the Shawshank. Of course, it was part of the short. As you were saying, Jesse, there's like short stories that Stephen King did, and this is one of them, The Shawshank, and became one of the greatest film adaptations, as Cyber said before, which I agree, definitely one of the number one Stephen King movies of all time. So Hank was supposed to transport to that Shawshank State Prison, but I think this because they don't confirm who attacked the bus. It's definitely Pennywise that kind of attacked this. It's never confirmed, but I think Pennywise wants to use this because he does feeds in the negative energy from the people of Derry. And and that's something that I like that they're not addressing it, but like if you know the movies, he likes that, and like that gives him more power. And so because of the kids getting killed and like Hank being accused of it, he wants to play around with that, and so he releases Hank, which will create more.
We don't know that. Come on, we don't know that.
Well, we never get confirmed like who.
There are incidents historically. It's happened multiple times where fucking criminal buses and stuff like that before in the past have rolled over or had accidents and things like that and stuff like that. That's happened before multiple times.
Well, yes, but something I want to point out that what was it? Who's the wife again? Cyber that doesn't like the actress. Because I agree, she's not my favorite of the cast.
I think that is that Madeline. I don't know. Is that Madeline Stowe? Cyber?
Yeah. No. Madeline Stone's great. Charlotte. So Charlotte. So let me like before I do the recap. I'm sorry, guys. Charlotte was there when she sees Hank transported to the prison bus. I agree with you, Jeff, that there's things where the bus do trip and criminals do that, right?
Oh, but it's happened a bunch of times.
Yes, but before he left, there was one scene where there was a creepy police officer smiling in the door where Charlie sees. That was Pennywise. So I'm just letting you know that Pennywise was there and like he saw that. So I'm just saying. But anyway, I don't want to get too deep, but anyway, so after the bus crashes, he sees this opportunity. That's what they say here in Wikipedia. He sees this opportunity to escape. He convinces Ingrid, the woman whom he had an affair with, and I was kind of surprised this happens, but until you kind of remembered the episode, I was like, oh yeah, I can see why. Because the husband was so douchey. He's like, honey, give him my steak. Get it. Don't make a mistake. Like don't make it raw. I was like, oh my god, yeah, this is definitely the douchey husband. I was like, oh my god. So Ingrid is the lover of Hank. That got the twist there, and then to help him hide for now, and then she goes to Charlotte to like help out with the situation. That was like the last thing we see with that storyline. Then the last thing is that Dick Halloran he survived. He emerges from the sewers and is shocked to see the dead Polly is walking and revealing that the box has been opened, which I don't know, like it will cause more psychological trauma with Halloween throughout this now, like seeing episodes, I'm very curious what's gonna happen. But if you see Dr. Sleep, it's probably what's gonna happen. Same thing what happened with Danny with the Overlook ghost. But okay, let me get to you, Jesse. Your thoughts on the whole the Hank and Ingrid reveal of the lovers, and then the end point is pretty much Dick being alive in the sewers and seeing that the black box is being opened.
Right. So okay, yeah, I had an earlier note there about what was going on with Hank. Actually, and you guys might be able to step in here because I had just learned about this, but Ingrid is apparently Ingrid Kirsch, which was and she was she in the book or was she in the movies or something where Pennywise had? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, Jesse, I cut you.
No, you're fine. Go ahead.
So last week, Jeff was laughing at me with this twist that maybe Ingrid was going to be the daughter of Pennywise. That's not true. So Ingrid is going to be the clown that we saw in episode 1, or was it 2 or 3? That kid that looked almost like Pennywise. So Kirsch is the guy that ran the circus, and it was the original idea of like how it got the Pennywise clown.
Okay.
And he takes that form of that Kirsch, the father, in that timeline that we're probably going to see next week or that episode. And it's actually been touched in chapter 2. We actually see Kirsch, that human form, in chapter 2. I think the older Beverly goes to search and like sees this like old lady that I think that's the older Kirsch, this old lady, I think, and then she sees this like older Kirsch, and he turns her into Pennywise. Really cool fact in chapter 2 if you got a chance to see that movie. So yes, Jesse. So she is the daughter of the Kirsch that owns the circus that we saw with Shaw in his childhood that he went to. That's connected to that.
Gotcha.
We're gonna get more expanded upon. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say there was, that's one of the things that I learned was about how apparently Pennywise had manifested the appearance of Ingrid in one of the, so it must have been chapter 2, and then now she's an actual person that has a story here with Hank. So it's cool that they're fleshing out this universe and giving people their due diligence here and having backstories and stuff like that, which is great. And I can see, I mean, there's an argument that you could make for sure that Pennywise there are definite elements of racism, that potential racism and stuff that's throughout this is early 60s, Maine. And yeah, there's elements of racism that are kind of throughout this series. So finding out that Hank is having an affair with Ingrid is not going to go over well with the town. Most likely there's going to be some issues, and I'm sure that Pennywise is going to, take advantage of that. I mean, if you watch the credits, you kind of get an idea of what we're building to. I'm talking about the intro credits.
Yeah.
As you watch these picturesque things turn into horrifying events, and then our final one is what do they call it? Shoot, something explodes. I cannot remember.
The factory. explosion that we get mentioned in chapter 1 because
Okay.
Mike's because the Leroy, I don't know, you know this, Jess. Leroy, Will, and Charlotte are the descendant of Mike, the one of the loser clubs in chapter 1 and 2.
Okay. All right.
So that's another connection that is from the movies. So
Got it.
their descendant family legend is going to be important in the movies.
Right. Okay. All right. So yeah, we're building up to things. So it wouldn't surprise me one bit that this right here, this affair that's going on, somehow like feeds in or results in one of these big significant events happening in Derry, somehow, some way. But then again, I could be completely wrong. I have no idea. And then, yeah, I mean, look, I'll let you, the other guys, speak on this, but you know, hollering, seeing Polly's ghost, I didn't put 2 and 2 together about some of the things that I had seen online, how now this lockbox being opened is possibly allowing him to see these ghosts. Maybe he was able to do it with the lockbox before closed. I have no idea, but it seems like some of the stuff I was reading was like, since it's open now, these traumatic things have been unleashed, and it's also done something to where he can see these people. But you guys would know better than I do. Maybe he could see him all the time, but he obviously was pretty stunned to see Polly walking around looking like no idea what the hell he was doing there. And oh yeah, by the way, he's dead. So a hell of a way to end the episode. So yeah, that's all I got.
No, thank you, Desi. Yeah, I'm happy to answer your question about the curse thing, because that was something I was excited to see if that was Ingrid that was going to be that. And the black. Before I get to you guys, briefly the black bus. I just see that he's going to see his grandfather again, and he's going to torment I think Holland throughout the series, because I feel like, because a couple episodes ago, his grandma warned him that something is gonna attack him or come back at him, and so that's gonna happen, because that was something that Danny had to face in Doctor Sleep, where he was getting taunted by, as Jeff said before, he was getting taunted by the ghosts from the Overlook hotels because they wanted his shine, and so because of Danny, because of Dick helping Danny to lock that up into a box, that's as we've seen what he did to his evil grandfather. So I think that's what's going to happen. I don't know what else, because he hasn't this version is young, so he hasn't yet gone to the Overlook Hotel.
Yeah,
so,
right.
I'm not gonna expect that the Overlook Hotels are gonna be a release. It's that's
right.
So I expect that his grandfather is going to come back as a spirit, and he's going to torment him throughout the series. But we'll see. Again, so let me get to you, Cyber. What are your thoughts on the final part of the episode with Dick being alive and seeing the Leroy's friend being dead and being a ghost spirit, and plus the Hank and Ingrid affair twist that we got in this episode? Go ahead.
I think probably out of all the portions of this episode, this was my least favorite part of the episode. We already knew, we were going to figure out eventually who he was seeing that night that he couldn't say. And I had a feeling it was going to be Madeline Stowe. So I think that, that was nice that they explained it. But at the same time, it's I don't think it was necessary really at that point, especially with such a great episode that it was so far. And, the whole Dick, thing where he ends up crawling through the tub and ends up having that kind of nightmarish thing with people of his past. I was I'm is this what the fuck is going on here? Is this a part of his ability, or is this Pennywise fucking with him? What is going on here? What exactly is this? Because we all know he has the ability to shine. That was proven when he went inside the head of the Native American kid. And, we kind of saw that he has kind of abilities throughout the series so far. And so throughout the episodes, you feel that, you could definitely see that things have been off with his abilities. we can see that things have been going wrong with it. And so when this happened, I'm like thinking, oh, this has got to do something with Pennywise. This has to do something, got to do, him fucking with him somehow. But at the same time, then you're like thinking to yourself, like, is it not? Maybe it's the Shine's having issues of some sort. You just don't know. But at the same time, I feel that it is definitely a part of something Pennywise is doing. Simply for the fact that at that very end part, we get to see, the one guy's partner that just died. All of a sudden, he's walking around there looking for what the fuck, where am I? Type of deal. And you're like, wait a second, he just died. How are you seeing him dead already? Like, that just doesn't seem like how fast it would work, especially with even with the Shine. So I definitely think that this is kind of prelude to what we're going to find out more in the next episode, I feel. And that there's more than meets the eye to what was going on with him there, with Dick in that whole situation, which I think it's going to be a mixture of two things. I think it's going to be his Shine and a Pennywise thing that, I definitely think have intermixings going on. Or even, maybe the Shine is maybe pulling on something that Pennywise is doing and he doesn't even know it. Maybe it's something that, the Shine is locked into it, and, it's giving him visions that he shouldn't be seeing, that could lead to something that could help them against Pennywise. So, you never know. But I think at the same time, I think it was not my favorite part, but it definitely was interesting. And I think it closed out the episode okay in a way that, it has you begging for more, for next week's episode. So, not a bad or shabby, too bad of an ending, but overall, I think it could have been a little better.
Andres is frozen.
Oh, you know what? Jesus Christ, man. I appreciate that, Jesse.
Man, no problem.
It happens, This is actually it's not a bad frozen face, out of the I've seen worse ones, you know what I'm saying?
That's true.
He looks a little sad, you know what I'm saying?
He's like,
I'll take him down just to save his own dignity. You know what I mean? It was my turn anyway, So it actually worked out pretty well as far as like going frozen goes, you know what I'm saying? So I'll just go ahead and jump in and take my spot. So I mean, you guys have already talked about the ending segment already, so I don't want to beat the already dead horse or whatever. But I mean, I guess I would probably say that I would agree with Cyber a little bit. I mean, the actual finale of the episode was not like anything overwhelming or anything like that for me as the audience, and it was a great episode 5, a lot happened, right? A lot of action, if you want to say that for a horror show, right? It wasn't like deflating or anything like that, I was happy. I like Dick, Halperin, character or whatever, so I was happy to see him come out of the sewers alive. Just kind of, I guess, shocked that, he came out alive, I mean, it kind of seemed like, Pennywise like had him pretty much, when he, made the grandfather, open the box and all that, you know what I mean? I thought that was pretty much a done deal. So I'm just kind of like, surprised that, that Pennywise let him go like that, and didn't kill him. So that was a little bit shocking for me, because I figured for sure that he was done, like as a character on the show. Right. But, he's obviously going to be fucked up now, after that situation with like what happened, so, I don't know how useful he's going to be like for the military and all that now after this mission, I think he's going to be pretty fucked up, right? Yeah, I mean, what can I say, right? I mean, Pennywise is definitely scary as fuck in the sewers, you know? Like, he is really fucking scary in the sewers, man. And all this, you know, interconnectivity with the Stephen King stuff, with you know, the Shining, Shawshank Redemption, be popping up and all that. It's all awesome, you know. I love it. It's like fan service almost, right? So I really enjoy that, you know, that connectivity that they're adding in to it. Welcome to Derry. I like all the new stuff, you know, the different stuff they're adding to the like the it lore almost, right? As far as like Pennywise's abilities and, just different stuff happening, that we've seen before in this story, I guess. I don't know what happened to Andres, the pop culture guy. We lost him hardcore.
Man.
But anyway, so yeah, I mean, pretty much besides that, I'll just say that again, I was kind of shocked and like a little bit surprised that all the kids made it out of the sewers like totally untouched, that really kind of surprised me. I didn't see that happening for them. But they made it out, they luckily to fight another day, right? I mean, it'll obviously be very interesting to see what happens in episode 6 as far as like, how the military is going to react, overall to like what happened with this failed mission, and then see what happens when Dick shows back up to the military base, if he even does, right? That'll be interesting to see what happens,
He needs a vacation. He needs to head to the Overlook.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to see, how much. We'll have to see how motivated that major or colonel or whatever is, to fuck with Pennywise after this mission going to shit,
Right.
and them losing their guide and Danny, right? Who hopefully we'll find out what happened to him in episode 6. Yeah, a lot to look forward to in the next episode. Definitely. A lot, happened in episode 5. That I'm looking forward to see, the repercussions, occurring. And it'll be interesting to see what happens with the father getting freed from the the bus crash, right? Hiding out with Madeline Stowe or whoever the fuck her name is, right? Lily's friend there, so yeah, that's pretty much it. Andres, are you okay, sir? Can you take up? Do you want to finish up?
Yes, let me finish up because I'm back. And first off, can't believe my Iceman didn't get my good side of my face. Instead, they showed me my sad face. I'm like, come on, you guys. Anyway, thank you, Jeff. I thought you handled it very well. So let's get to ratings right now. Jesse, let's start with what's the rating for this episode, sir?
Yeah, by far it was my favorite of the season. I'm going to give it a 9.5 out of 10.
Oh, awesome. Saber, you're next, sir. What's your rating?
I will give the episode a 9 out of 10. I'll give it a 9 out of 10 because, like I said, I thought the ending could have been just a little bit better. Other than that, the episode was really fantastic, especially with the re-entrance of Pennywise. So I give it a 9.
Cyber, I've got to ask a question here real quick, okay? Because I took all 4 episodes that you guys did and threw them into Notebook LM AI, okay? And it gave me a ratings breakdown that you guys always did for the last 4 episodes. And I know you wasn't on episode 3, I guess, which would have covered, let's try it again. It was episode 3. You weren't able to be on, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Just real quick. if you can remember anything from episode 3, you got the cemetery scene. You got the flashback to 1908 that happens in that, where we learn how. Okay, so what was your rating for that one?
That one was an 8. I thought
Okay.
that was my weakest of the 5 episodes so far.
All right, and all the others you gave 10s. Tell me the AI is wrong. You gave them 10s.
Yep.
All right, then. All right. I just had to check and make sure.
That's
love
cool.
Cyber's 10 out of 10.
That's cool, Jesse. That's cool.
All right. Yeah, I love it. All right. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, that's funny. I was kind of surprised he'd say 9 out of 10 for this show. I thought it was going to be a 10 out of 10.
I
Anyway.
wanted to see all 10s across the board for every single episode from Cyber, but didn't happen.
Cyber, yeah. Yeah, I know. Jeff, you're ready, sir.
I'll actually drop my first 10 of the series tonight. So I'm going to give it a
really?
10.
Okay.
Yeah, I really liked episode 5.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. I'm going to give it a 10 too, because I actually like this episode. I do agree with Cyber about the ending. Like, I think we could have ended in a more like memorable way, but like, come on, like, you got Pennywise coming back, like Bill Skarsgård coming back in full Pennywise role. Oh, that's what I remember. Jesse, like, throughout the series, we were getting hinted at the Pennywise clown in his form, but it was always in shadows. Like last week, it was like we saw the hair, like, the hair clown, but it was nothing like, clear image of Pennywise.
It was not the full reveal for sure. It was the build up to this, and I think that's what they did well with it.
Exactly, and so I thought that was one of the great things about this episode, and I think they totally delivered that. And I just like that this episode converged all the storylines, and like we got the twist reveal of Hank sleeping with Ingrid. That was good. We got that payoff. And then, seeing the kids and the soldiers like merge into one, that was really good. So I'll definitely I'll drop it down to a 9.5 out of 10. I do agree with Cyber that the ending was kind of weak, but at the same time, I think this was the strongest episode of this series in Pennywise. So so thank you everyone for joining us tonight for it. Welcome to Derry episode 5 discussion. Sorry about the technical difficulties from my end, but we are done. So I'm just gonna hand it to Jeff to like plug us out and get out of here. Go ahead, Jeff.
Okay. All right. Jesse Starcher, Source Material Comics Podcast, sir. Go ahead.
Yeah. Hey, if you get an opportunity and you want to check me out talking about comic books, I do a lot of that over on the Source Material Comics Podcast. We have the Source Material Comics Podcast where we talk about comics of any era. We also do the Unspoken Issues Podcast where we talk about 90s comics strictly. And then we do the Snap Material Podcast where if you play Marvel Snap on your mobile device, me and my buddy Evan get together and we drop about 4 to 5 20-minute episodes a month of us just discussing some of the fun stuff we had and did during the seasons of Marvel Snap. So there you go.
Okay. And real quick, if you want to also opine on your YouTube channel, I have it pulled up right here.
Yeah. Hey, we got fun stuff. Pretty much all the podcasts are over there, but every once in a while I'll drop an interesting little tidbit that doesn't make it, that might be visually, because most of it's audio, but every once in a while I'll drop a nice little visual treat for everybody. And it's over there. It has all the podcasts that we do, plus some other fun stuff that we've done in the past as well. Right now we're in the middle of talking about Day Tripper on Source Material, which is a really good book. So if you get a chance, check that out. And yeah, there's some Marvel Snap battles that me and my buddy Evan had, and I just decided we're going to stream them live, and we did. So it was a lot of fun. But guys, thanks again for having me on. This was a fun discussion. I had a good time.
Oh, we love seeing you, Jesse.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it was great to have you here. Yeah.
Thank you for deciding to swing by, sir.
Absolutely.
Cyberneticshark, sir, my co-host, sir. Sir, please go ahead and plug away.
All right, folks. So if you enjoy me here on the podcast, if you enjoy me on the panel, or as a moderator, you can check out my solo content. You'll find me under Cyberneticshark on YouTube. That's my home base. But you can also find me on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Threads, Patreon, pretty much anywhere else a social media platform is. You see there, my most recent review is for Tron Ares. Really great film. Absolutely loved it. If you haven't seen that yet, or seen the review, check that out. If you haven't seen Scream 7 trailer yet, you can check out my trailer reaction of that too as well. That's my most recent trailer reaction for you guys. Got more movie reviews and trailer reactions coming for you guys, so keep your eyes out for that. My shorts, as you can see there, I'm still doing my Soras too, so keep checking those out. Keep checking those out, folks. They've been making my views go up, so I appreciate all the people watching. My most two recent mini reviews, of course, are for two horror films. One's called Good Boy, about a dog that can see the supernatural. And then, of course, Monster Summer, which came out in 2024 with Mel Gibson. It's basically like a witch monster movie, kind of like Monster Squad, kind of similar. Check that out if you haven't seen either of those. Both great films, or at least one of them was a really fun film. The other one kind of sucked. But yeah, keep checking out my Soras. I just recently did one as a bodybuilder, being all buff like, Hans and Franz. And so definitely check that out. I have to shout out Jesse Starcher for showing me the way for Sora 2. Thank you for that, sir.
Oh man, I love your stuff, dude. I get on there and on Sora every once in a while, and I'm like, there's Cyber again. Who'd he meet this time? Oh, it's Abraham Lincoln.
Yep. So yeah, it's been fun. I think that, the collaborations you could have on there with certain people is pretty funny. I use Jake Paul quite often.
Oh yeah, I've been watching that.
Funny.
Here. Yeah,
I think it's funny as hell. But yeah, definitely if you haven't seen any of those, definitely check them out. People, they've been fun, been enjoyable, funny stuff. Have more content up for you guys soon. Keep your eyes out. Keep on watching. Keep on subscribing. Appreciate you guys. Definitely check out that Patreon page if you haven't. And thank you for watching us here on the FC Blue Edge. Keep watching us here and keep on promoting all these great content creators that are a part of our group. So thank you very much.
All right. Andre's the pop culture guy. Good job tonight, sir. The technical difficulties did not make any difference at all. Everything was fine. And here you go, Barney.
Yep.
Go ahead and plug your channel.
Yes, thank you, everyone. This is Andre's pop culture guy. Sorry you cannot see my beautiful Time Lord face, but hey, I have to travel. I have an important mission. I got called from my top MI6 government job. They call me just right now, say I need to save the world again. But anyway, so besides that, recently just posted my part 2 of a James Bond comic book read. Check it out. Pretty good read from 2022. Just continuing on my Bond mania that I just have here. Just recently now, I just posted my ranking of my top favorite Pierce Brosnan villains, so you can check that out. I need to fix it a little bit, but I was working on that while I was doing the hosting. But anything else, check out my shorts where I do my reviews of movies or TV shows. I do it with Daisy Blade Edge or some of my guest spots there. My next live stream review is going to be GoldenEye, the 30th. So I got a couple guests in line, and Jeff is going to be there as well. So please check that out. And my next short review could be either I can't speak right now. Black Hawk Down. I just recently saw that yesterday with my mom, and good film. I was very surprised. It's a really good film from Scott. So so that's where I'm at right now. And in terms of shorts, clips, I'm doing The Predators. That's doing very well for me this month. Crazy reviews from those clips I'm posting from the 1987 classic film. I just want to thank everyone for joining us tonight. Thank you, Jesse, for coming join us. It was a blast. And that's all I have to say. Thank you, guys.
All right. Thanks, Cyber. Thanks for coming over, Jesse, and being on the panel with us tonight. Appreciate you, Andres. And folks, we hope you enjoyed our episode 5 recap of It. Welcome to Derry. And you can find us all together again on Friday evening live for The Last Samurai movie review.
Yeah.
Until then, we will see you later. and